Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have the Collingwood, the all-new British premium tier 6 battleship that has made its way to World of Warships Legends. If you haven't been around for one of our reviews, what we're going to do, we're going to go over the stats, we're going to go over the commander, we're going to go over the consumables, the modules, all that good jazz, then show off a game in it, and then at the end of it, you can maybe make a decision whether you think the Collingwood is worth the cheddar. Speaking of cheddar, just a heads up and a disclosure, I am one of the World of Warships Legends community contributors, and as such, have been provided the ship for free by Wargaming to make this sort of promotional video. So if you like this video, you want to see more reviews and things like it, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And with all of that said, let's go ahead and dive on into Collingwood. Well, let's first start with our commander. The commander that we are going to be running is none other than Azur Lane Nelson, made famous by her use on the Collingwood's not quite sister ship, but like they look close enough, and we're just for the ease of the world and non-technicality. I know we're gonna have some history nerds in the comments going, actually, but for all intents and purposes, Collingwood, sort of the sister ship of Nelson. Azur Lane Nelson is going to be our commander. We're going to be running good old Cunningham and Scharnhorst, and then Flammable Cannoneer, her unique skill, Big 7, Marksmanship, Master Mechanic, and Fight Fire with Fire. So that is the commander. What about the modules? Well, we're going to be running Main Battery Mod 1 in the first slot. Then in the second slot, we're going to be running that good old Prop Mod. And finally, we'll be running Concealment Mod in the third slot. Next, let's go ahead and go and talk the consumables, because this is what makes Collingwood special. This is what makes her unique compared to her sister. The first thing is going to be that damage control party. It's going to last 15 seconds and reload in 76 seconds. Cool, great, awesome. Then comes the first big change, the repair party. Now, the repair party, it's going to heal 631 health per second. It's going to last for 22 seconds, and it's going to reload in 52.4 seconds. Total health per heal on this vessel is going to be 13,882. Compare that to Nelson's 25,816. You can see there's some slight downgrade there. After that, we get to the sonar. Yes, a battleship with sonar. Always fun to have that. 3-kilometer range for torps, 4-kilometer range for ships, 100-second duration. It's going to reload in 171 seconds, and you get 2 charges of it. And then there's the other piece de resistance of Collingwood, and that is going to be the main battery reload booster. It's going to increase your reload speed by 50%. It's going to last 20 seconds. Reload time is 142.5 seconds. And you're going to get 2 charges of it. And if you go for a all-out like brawler build with this, you are able to get 2 salvos off within that time frame, which is pretty fun. Cool. So those are all of the consumables. Let's next just go ahead and dive on into the stats. So Collingwood, 58,500 hit points with an armor thickness between 16 and 419 millimeters. Let's go ahead and take a look at the armor. And for those of you that are familiar with Nelson, you're going to notice a very big difference. That's right. All coated in 26 millimeters of armor. There is no 32 millimeter side plating to save you on this vessel. It's a bit of a change. Citadel is kind of still nice and proud out of the water, which means let me tell you, you can and you will get dev struck in Collingwood, and there's no angling about it, because 16-inch guns, well, they overmatch 28 millimeters of armor. So be prepared. Be prepared to take some big hits, to play a bit defensively, or else you won't make it out of the battles very much alive. Cool. So that's the armor. Total potential health of the vessel, i.e. the total amount of health if you use every heal to its fullest ability, is going to be 127,910. Cool. Let's now move on to the main battery. 3 2-barreled 419 millimeter guns. the same ones that are over on Conqueror. Firing range on them, 18.2 kilometers with a reload time of 26 seconds. Shells per minute is only 14 with a 180 time of 45. HE damage you're going to be doing 7,134, giving you a DPM of 99,876 and a 47% chance to set fire. AP damage on the ship, 15,080 per shell, giving you a DPM of 211,000. One note to make with the shells. First off, the AP is regular AP. It's not British short fuse AP. And 2, Sigma on the guns is going to be 2.0. Next, let's move on to secondaries. You have 6 one-barreled 120mm guns and 6 two-barreled 152s with a firing range of 5.2 kilometers. Reload time on them is reload time 120 on the 120s. You're looking at a 5-second reload, 1,700 damage, and an 8% chance to set fire. On the 152s, you're looking at a 12-second reload, 2,150 damage, and a 9% chance to set fire. After that, we get to the AA. You have a 4.5 kilometer range with a minimum damage of 36 and a maximum of 241. After that, we get to the maneuverability of the vessel. 27.8 knots is going to be its max speed, an 800-meter turning radius, and a 15.5-second rudder shift time. Finally, we get to concealment. 12.3 by sea, 10.3 by air, and 14.3 when firing in smoke. And those are all of the stats of the good old Collingwood. So next, let's go and take a look at a game in her, and welcome to the Atlantic. And well, here we are in Collingwood, and I'm going to go on a little rant as we get into position because, well, if you look, a bit of a weird matchmaking layout here. So we are going to try to do our best to avoid being spotted early on and get to an advantageous position. So Collingwood, couple of advantages it does have over Nelson, higher speed. We're going to use that to get around on the sides. But really, Collingwood has a couple of big disadvantages. If you're unaware of the history of this vessel, over on Warships PC, basically they brought out the Nelson, and they determined that Nelson with its 16-inch guns and all of them at the lower tier were overpowered. And as a result, they took the Nelson off of sale and put the Collingwood on sale as a more balanced alternative. And I guess that's what you could call Collingwood in this game, because it certainly is a more balanced alternative to Nelson, which is one of the best performing battleships at tier 6. So what does that mean? Well, right now you could choose to purchase Collingwood for 10,500 doubloons, or you could purchase its better sister for 8,750 if you're watching this on the review week, as they do have Nelson on discount, and that's probably what I recommend you do. So the whole gimmick of Collingwood is a couple things. One, bigger guns. You get 419s as compared to the 406s on Nelson. And initially that may sound like great. You're like, yeah, bigger guns, more better, yeah. But when you look into the mechanics of the game, 406s, 16-inch guns, overmatch 28 millimeters of armor. Great, awesome. 419s only overmatch 29 millimeters of armor. And you're like, yeah, an extra whole millimeter of overmatch. But the problem is there isn't really much 29 millimeter armor around. The next big step, basically, after you get past 25 or 27 millimeters, which is the two that that 406s overmatch, is 32 millimeters. So there's nothing new that Nelson wouldn't be able to pen that Collingwood now can pen. But you do get the wonderful penalty of less rounds in the air. And when you're dealing with a battleship, that's not the best thing, right? You want more rounds in the air. You want a heavier broadside. You want more potential damage flying through the sky because, battleships aren't sniper rifles. Yes, they fire long range, but they don't have pinpoint accuracy. They do fly all over the place, and as a result, the more shells you can put downrange, the better your hit percentages are going to be, because you have more chance of the metaphorical die roll. And as a result, Collingwood, with his only 6 guns, can feel lacking sometimes. I will say the accuracy does feel great, especially when you're in sub 16 kilometers. When you're in those ranges that you would usually end up engaging in if you were in, say, a brawler build of this vessel, the accuracy can feel absolutely great, but it can also feel a bit rough. And with only those 6 shells, it does kind of tend to feel you leave lacking. Additionally, Collingwood, kind of built around the AP, dem guns gonna overpen, especially if you get down into a tier 5 match. You can expect that you are going to be overpenning cruisers left, right, and center, which doesn't really feel great, right? These guns have incredible velocity and incredible pen, and that's great. They do great things, but it can lead to some sort of rough matches. Now, what do you get for arguably the trade-off of, we could call it slightly worse guns, or I would call them worse guns than Nelson? Well, you get the consumables. You don't get as good of a heal, but you do get sonar and a main battery reload booster, both of which I would say fairly good, right? I think that's a pretty good trade-off, you could say. It definitely makes Collingwood a bit more fun. When I was playing her, this kind of reminded me a little bit of Strasbourg, not quite in the speed, but just of the sort of play style of, it's a fun battleship, but it's not a great battleship. And the other part about Collingwood that we have to talk about, and you need to be aware if you are ever in the market for her, is her armor. Nelson does really well because she has that 32mm plate. And what that means is, if you can angle her correctly, you will be able to bounce 16-inch guns, which are pretty much the most common guns at tier 7. And they're slightly rare, but even smaller guns down in the lower tiers will be there. Collingwood doesn't have that option, right? She doesn't have the ability to bounce 16-inch guns. She will get overmatched. And when she gets overmatched, she will take massive hits. If you noticed during the arm review, we have that sort of 26 or 27mm skin, and then right in the Citadel, you have that 300mm like Citadel armor. And yeah, maybe your shell stops. Maybe that 300mm stops, but the shell's still gonna get into the structure of the ship and pen and do full pen damage, which means you are going to take some absolutely massive hits in Collingwood, or some dev strikes. I've been dev struck today way more than I have in a while. And I would say there's of course things you can always do, but I would say Collingwood is going to be one of those, is a glass cannon, is one where if you've positioned wrong, where if you get too forward, if you get concentrated by a Kansas, anything with 16-inch guns, you can be in a world of hurt, where if the enemy decides not to concentrate on you, you can find yourself doing pretty well in the vessel and having a pretty great game. And it's one of those hot and cold sort of ships that you have to be prepared to know what's going on out there, and to see what's what. Cool. So those are my thoughts on Collingwood. Honestly, if I were you, I would probably go for the Nelson. I think Nelson is a better ship. If you have money just you want to throw around, Collingwood is a vessel out there. I will say, though, I have missed tier 6 premiums. This is the first tier 6 we've gotten in quite a while. It's been fun having the old tier 5, tier 6 matches. I kind of missed them when for doing these reviews. Anyways, let's get into the game. If you notice, At one point, we were at a very severe ship deficit, and we've kind of slowly been crawling our way up. We're using our main battery reload booster here to try and slap this North Carolina who went broadside. We got those 4 pens. We also, earlier in the match, got some beautiful hits, especially the Citadel shot on that Helena. But now, our job is just try to eliminate these battleships, right? We've pushed around the entire wide side of the map. And the reason we did that is we wanted to be where our team wasn't. We wanted to be in a space where if they didn't push that side, we had free reign to kind of control the range and distance of the engagements, and have broadsides when they focus on the rest of our team who've kind of pushed center. So shots out on the King George. Hopefully that will finish the King George. It should, now that he has literally no health. Beautiful. He goes down. Next, onto the North Carolina. It's looking good for us. We're kind of flipping between the AP and the HE. Of course, North Carolina covered in the 25 millimeters of armor. We should be able to pretty much overmatch him anywhere. But I will say I have definitely had struggles with getting the AP to hit at certain ranges where we just bracket a ship. The dispersion of the shells does seem to be much more flat and angled out as opposed to tightly grouped together, and as a result, you really are looking for the broadsides of ships, because you can easily end up bracketing a ship that is, sort of nose in on you. We go ahead and pop our sonar because we do have that smoke out in front of us, and we don't know where this destroyer is heading. We want to be safe because, we don't want to risk going down just because we are sailing straight into some torpedoes. And that is one of the good things about Collingwood, I will say. Having sonar on a battleship is always fun, even when it's not the German battleships. You have some pretty devastating HE that you can rely on. Being able to kind of push into an area, use the sonar to spot someone on the other side of like a ridge, always a good time. North Carolina now, unfortunately, I don't think we are going to be able to quite finish him off here. We leave him with just enough health, and well, there goes the killing blows on what will be the North Carolina. Sweet, awesome. Now it is only the enemy destroyer, and we have 2 low health teammates left. And well, if you've played this game long enough, you know exactly what's going to happen. Those 2 are going to go down to the last destroyer. I'll go ahead and spoil the end of the match. We'll get a pretty decent shot off on the destroyer, and he will disappear into the sunset as he takes out both of our remaining teammates. Once he does that, I head for the high hills because I would rather win than die foolishly. So, guys, that's the Collingwood. Like I said, it's fine. It's fine. It's fun. It's fine. But if you gave me the option, I would go with Nelson, and they're going to be either the same price or, like I said, if you're watching this the week this video comes out, they have Nelson currently on sale for 8,750 doubloons. As always, you don't have to ever buy a premium ship, but when one goes on discount, that's when you want to focus on and maybe decide to pull the trigger. And Nelson is one of those battleships that I don't think you will regret ever buying. Anyways, guys, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.